SCPA family. My name is Aubrey Nowicki, and I'm the proud founder and board director for the Student Event Planners Association. My, do we have a treat for you guys tonight? One of our best partners, absolute best partners, 3D event designer, is going to be sharing all the information on how to make a virtual floor plan. So you can take a 2D floor plan, create a 3D floor plan. It's an absolutely amazing platform, amazing tool. We have the CEO with us tonight who's going to be teaching us all about this. We're not going to jump straight into it. I'm going to give 5 minutes. We'll get started. So allow people to join in on the call. If you are an SCPA member, do note this webinar will be recorded and posted to our YouTube channel. Also will be available in our private video library along with a quiz at the end of this week. So if you are a premium member, you can take that quiz to receive credit through our professional development program. And also, if you are an SCPA student member, we're going to be emailing out information for your account by the end of this week as well. So you guys can be on the lookout for that. And again, we'll get started in about 5 minutes. Please go ahead and introduce yourself on the event wall, whether you're an SCPA member or not. We would love, love, love to hear and learn about you. So where are you from? If you're a student, what school do you go to? If you are an SCPA member, you can also include your chapter as well. So go ahead and do that on the event wall. And we'll get started in just 5 minutes. And I see people have joined. Fantastic. Welcome, welcome. Haley, Ruth, Jill, a couple of names I do not recognize and a couple I do. Welcome. All right. Welcome to all of our new viewers. And also, again, feel free throughout the webinar to post any questions, comments. Go ahead and introduce yourself on the event wall. Don't be shy. All right. We'll get just started in just 3 minutes. So once again, welcome, welcome. For tonight, we're going to be covering 3D Event Designer. They're one of our best partners for the Student Event Planners Association. We have the co-founder and CEO here with us tonight. I'm going to introduce her a little bit later. And she's going to be going through the platform with us, the background of the platform, how she evolved in her career as well. So if you have some questions related to the events industry or how she got her start, you can also feel free to ask any of those questions throughout the duration of this webinar. This webinar will be recorded and posted to our YouTube channel, so you guys can view it back at any time. If you're a member of SCPA, you can also access it through our private video library, and within the week, we'll be posting a link to a quiz. So if you are a premium student member or a professional member, you can take that quiz to receive credit through our professional development program. And also, if you are a student member of SCPA Basic or Premium, we will be emailing out some login credential information for you guys by the end of this week, so you can actually get in online and play around within the 3D Event Designer platform and create your event spaces. So that's going to be really exciting. And once again, go ahead, don't be shy, introduce yourself on the event wall. You can post any questions you have throughout the duration of the webinar. I'll be looking at those and actually reading them to our guest speaker for tonight. So she's excited to be here, and we're excited to have her as well. You guys are going to love her. Love, love, love her. We'll get started in just 1 minute. Thank you guys for your patience. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get started for tonight. I am so excited. I'm smiling ear to ear because I'm so excited to introduce this lovely, lovely individual. Her name is Kristin Carroll. She's with 3D Event Designer, and she's actually one of the co-founders and CEO of 3D Event Designer. It's an absolutely wonderful platform, and I mean that sincerely. You're able to create these 2D event spaces and then actually view and walk through them in 3D, which is an amazing ability to be able to have as both an event professional and as the end user, as a client potentially, to be able to actually see your event space laid out visually. It's such a brilliant concept, and she has such an amazing team. It's a family-run business, which is also so fantastic. They are all so nice, so helpful. This is a company that's on the up and up, and we're so excited to be partnered with this, Student Event Planners Association partnered with 3D Event Designer, and they have been so gracious to provide some of these benefits to our student members over the past couple of years to allow you guys to log in, create your own event spaces, get down and dirty, also add some of these credentials to your resume, and be able to share this with your employers or even future employers as well to help not only your employers, but your clients, and then just enhance your experience altogether. Event design and event spaces and floor plans are absolutely essential to event planning. It's a skill that you must know how to do, and being able to elevate that to a completely different level utilizing this tool and Kristin's knowledge is just fantastic. So thank you, Kristin, so much for bringing this also to the industry and for being a resource for us to learn tonight about this platform and how we can take our event spaces to the next level. Thank you so much.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Audrey, so much for that wonderful introduction. Hi, everyone. Hi, SCPA family. We are so thrilled, and we have been for a few years now, to be partners with you guys. Aubrey has been fantastic in expanding SCPA, and we're so excited for the growth that you guys have had. So again, thank you for partnering with us as well. So like Aubrey said, I'm going to go ahead and give you a little bit about our background, how we got started. I'll jump into a demo. And of course, like Aubrey said, at any time, if you guys have any questions while I'm going through it, by all means, go ahead and send the chat and I'll address it right then, or we'll go ahead and address it at the end of the webinar too. So again, thank you. Background being, so we actually launched 3D Event Designer, formerly known as Events Clique, in the very beginning of 2011. Like I just mentioned, we started out with our company name as Events Clique, so you may or may not have heard that. And about 2 years ago, we rebranded into 3D Event Designer. Big reason being people were thinking we were actually event planners instead of a software company. With that being said, our software is entirely web-based. It has been from the beginning. As Aubrey mentioned, it's 2D and 3D floor plan software, and because it is web-based, it can be accessed from anywhere in the world. As you're seeing right behind me, I'm actually in my home office. What makes it so great being web-based, I can work on it, you can work on it, anyone can be within their account anywhere. You can be at your home, coffee shop, office, with a client on site, you name it. So with that being said, I'm going to actually go ahead and share my screen and show you the application while I give you a little bit more about the background, and then we will actually dive into, the nitty-gritty, the fun part of it. So let me share my screen here. All right. So what you're seeing right now is the application, our 3D global view. But before I go into, what this is and how it works, a little bit more about the background of it. You did hear it is web-based. Because it is web-based, not only can you access it from anywhere, but you'll see a link up here at the top. Each floor plan does have a unique URL. What that means to you as an event planner is you can actually share it with your clients simply by copying that link and sending it to them in an email. And clients can always see what you're seeing. So that goes back to the whole working from anywhere, being in a venue space, you name it. A little bit more about us too. Aubrey mentioned we are a family-owned company. I did start this company in 2010 and we launched in 2011 with actually my mom and brother. And we have a fantastic team that works for us. Because it is web-based, our team expands all the way to France, as well as to Russia and to Asia. So our team is entirely diverse as far as where we are located globally. That being said, too, our clients, they're global as well. We have clients in over 46 countries. They range from event planners to venues to caterers, and to just generic event professionals. We even have some photographers that use it for different setups, DJs, and you name it. So really, floor plan software can work for everyone within your industry. And that being said, like I mentioned, sharing the link, you can go ahead and converse with your other vendors when you are doing a floor plan and setting up for that event. So now I'm going to go ahead and jump into the application. What you see here on your screen, this is actually the 3D global view. And at any point in time, Aubrey is actually going to stop me if there is a little bit of a delay between what I'm seeing on my screen and yours. That tends to happen with using an application on top of our application. So don't hesitate to stop me there. But this is our 3D global view. This is a completed event. I wanted to show you, what one looks like completed, show you all the different tools you can use for it, and then I'll go backwards a little bit and show you kind of the basics of it and how you can do this yourself. So as I mentioned, 3D global view, you can view it from overhead, and you can really rotate it to any angle you need all the way down to eye level. So that's really whatever you need it to be, and then you can move around it too, forwards, backwards, left, right, up and down. And that's our 3D global view. And then we have our 3D walk view. Simply just means it's going to be at eye level. You can go around it in full 360 degrees, as well as, walk through the entire space. So I'll just go walk through this, and you can see for this one, this is actually a wedding ceremony and reception, indoor and outdoor. And the reason I wanted to show you this was that this software is not limited as far as the type of event you can create. You can create a wedding event, a corporate event, a huge conference, a trade show, a fashion show, and it can be indoors or outdoors or a combination of each. So now I'm actually going to go into our 2D floor plan here. The 2D floor plan is actually where you always create your floor plan, drag and drop in products, and edit them. We actually recently released to where you can actually edit products in 3D, which I'll touch on in a minute too. And that goes a little bit more to our background again. I'm just going to kind of jump back for a second. We're constantly updating and innovating our software. We started out as being a software focused more towards, the event host, the bride, the end user, when we realized we need to kind of go an entirely different direction and focus on you guys, what you guys are working towards becoming or already have become, the event professional working in a venue space. So with that being said, 2D floor plan, you see it completely completed right here. Over on your left-hand side, these are always going to be your main tools that you're going to be using. So we try and keep the interface very clean so that you always know where to look as far as making your design. So the first few items you see over here are wall drawing tools. Below we have annotation tools, simply meaning, for example, this note tool over here, you can actually create detailed setups with notes on it, arrows pointing to it, and I'll just show you real quick how that works. Click on one, drag it, click on a note, and you can type in any note here, and you can even resize it. So our software goes beyond the actual create the floor plan, view it in 2D, view it in 3D. We're trying to take it a level above so that you can really get down to the intricacies of it. We have over 1,000 furnishing items, meaning tables, chairs, decor items, and those are located on your left-hand side here. And you can see they're each are broken out into a category, or you can even search for it up top. So I could even search for a 6-foot table or anything that has 6 foot in it. So let's just go back here and view a few of the items. You can see I just went into our tables and linens. We have a few preset tables, but we have tons and tons of tables. The reason we don't have tons of preset ones is we really focus on the design aspect. We want your clients to be able to really envision that event. That was the whole point of creating the software. When I previously used to be an event planner, back in the day, so to speak, we were having to rip out, this was even before Pinterest, we were having to rip out pictures on magazines and try and piece them all together, and the client wasn't able to get that vision. The vendors, they weren't understanding each other. So that's why we break it down to having each little piece, and then you can go ahead and put it all together to create the end result. Dragging an item into the floor plan is very simple. You just click on it and drag it into the workspace. So I'll drag this one over here for us inside the reception area. And then anytime an item is within the floor plan, you can always edit it over on the right-hand side. You will always see this right-hand window. You can see here, you can always change any items with depth or height, so change the dimensions. You can always change the distance from floor. So if you're trying to place, let's say, a centerpiece, a place setting, you name it, on top of a table, that's where that would come into play. You can always rotate it, or simply rotating it by clicking on the item and dragging it around. And then below it too, we have the option to go ahead and change colors of it. So you can always select from the pre-configured colors here, or you can simply click on it again and input any hex code. The reason we have that hex code is, as you know, as a designer, let's just take a rental company. There's going to be an umpteen number of linen colors that rental company is going to have. So to give your client that really detailed visual, simply input the hex code. If I were to actually, let me drag in one more of these same items. We do have a new feature here where you can go ahead and select a color and hit apply to all, and then it changes all the colors within the floor plan. So going back to what I previously said, we're always adding new features, trying to make the application even more user-friendly, and we really do value feedback from our clients, being you. We want to know what's working for you, what's not, to make it even simpler for you to create a floor plan. If I go into the 3D view here, I'm going to go here so we can just look at the tables I dragged in. And now if you click on this, one of our newer features, you can actually edit items in the 3D view now. So you can go ahead and change the color here and change it on the go. Makes it a little more easy from your standpoint. Going back to the 2D view, a couple of other items I wanted to touch on before I jump into how you actually create this from scratch is the first one being the Snapshots tool over here on the left-hand side. So as I mentioned in the beginning, you can always share any project by this link up here. Copy it, put it in an email it to a client, or the same thing, we have the share button over here, and you can actually send it through our system via email to your client as well. What this gives your client is they're going to see this exact same screen you're seeing, this 2D view. They're going to be able to walk through it in 3D, look at it from overhead in the 3D global. What's great about it is if you make a change on your end within your account and you hit the save button, all the client has to do is hit the refresh button, and they don't have to be with you, and they're going to see that change in real time. Clients actually love that. And you, as an event planner working for a venue, you name it, you're going to be able to maximize your time now that you don't have to always have clients with you looking at the thing, going to every single appointment. You're going to be able to, really maximize your time and be able to do this, like I said, coffee shop, home office, your actual office. So that's how that works. A couple of other things that I wanted to touch on as well is if you are creating a floor plan that it has multiple levels to it. So let's say your floor or your event is at a venue where you're going to have cocktail hour, let's say on the lawn, and then you're going to go ahead and have your ceremony in one of the ballrooms that's going to be on the main level, and then your reception is going to be on a different level. Let's say level 2. Simply add multiple floors here, and then you can just flip to the different event areas within that same project so that it's all concise when you're sharing it with a client. A few other things too that I wanted to touch on. This inventory button over here. If I click on it, it's going to show me all the products in the workspace, the quantity of each, and my seating chart. Before I do that, I actually want to show you how to create a seating chart if you need to. And again, this is going to apply more to your weddings, your corporate events. It's not going to apply as much to your trade shows, but it's a very handy feature that you can use. All you do is click on a table, and then over on the left-hand side, this labels item, you can number or name it. So I'll just number it table 10, and then these 3 dots next to it. This is where you can either copy or paste in your seating selection and your entree selection. So I can type in Aubrey and put chicken, and Kristin, and I'll put fish, and so on. And like I said, copy it and paste it in if the client gave it to you, or you can actually type it in if you are creating it from scratch and hit apply. So now where that actually comes into play, I'm going to hit this inventory button over here. You're going to see all the products in the workspace, the quantity of each, as well as your seating chart down at the bottom. And only 2 of the tables had the brief seating charts just to show you it. But this is just to give you the idea. And then you can, of course, print this or save this, make sure you, of course, give it to if you're going to have an outside rental company or even your banquet captain, so that everyone's on the same page for event setup and event execution. The other thing that I wanted to show you as well, going back to the Snapshots tab, you can go ahead and hit the Save Snapshot button. What this does is it's going to save a JPEG image to your computer that you can then go ahead and email to clients. It's simply a static image, which a lot of our users are liking to use even more so than the link if they don't want to give the client the ability to drag and drop in furniture and make changes, even though the changes will never be made on your end. So that's how that works. And, speaking to it from an event professional standpoint, many of our venues are using it now to be able to embed the image of the final setup into their contract. So there's no ifs, ands, or buts about the actual day of and having a client come back being angry, because all we want as an event professional are happy clients and everyone enjoying the day that you put so much time and effort into. Last thing that I want to show you as far as sharing with clients, this is just a little sneak peek where it's in beta mode right now. So if you, to any project, right after where it says the word project, type in the word visualize and hit a backslash and hit enter. Let's leave this page. This is another way you can share it with clients. It removes the whole left-hand side so clients can't actually drag and drop in products, but it still gives you the ability to look at it from different standpoints. So we have the 3D global overhead view as well as the walk button. And we've created this based on customer feedback. Once we are finished, and you can see it's still in beta mode right now, we're still getting the colors tweaked and everything. But once it is completely tested, it'll simply be a button within your 3D floor plan that you click. So just kind of want to give you guys a sneak peek, something I'm very excited about working on, or releasing, I should say. And the other thing too, our software, like I mentioned, can be accessed from any computer that has internet connection. To be able to view it or edit it on a tablet, we use the Puffin browser. It's a free web browser, just like Chrome or Safari or Internet Explorer, that you would download onto your tablet to be able to access it. And we are currently working on a native application that'll be able to be pulled up from any web browser on your tablet or smartphone. So I frequently get questions asked on how that works, so I just wanted to touch on that. And then the last thing too is people always ask, how do you print this? How am I able to print off a hard copy, hand it to people? Just the same way I showed you with the Snapshots tab, you would save it to your computer and then open that file on your computer and print it. So really that's the basics of it. I'm now going to jump into just creating a floor plan from scratch. I won't waste anyone's time by dragging and dropping in every single furnishing item, but I will go ahead and just show you how you create that indoor-outdoor space. So I'm going to go to my account here. And as you can see, I have tons and tons of floor plans within my account. You're not limited. All you SCPA members out there, Aubrey mentioned you're going to be going and getting an email from her and from your chapter with your login details. So you'll all be able to create as many floor plans as you need, try it out, test it out, especially as you're doing your internships as well. And then at the same time, if you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to reach out to us. Aubrey, you're more than welcome to give everyone my contact information, or you can go ahead and always call in or email us at info@3deventdesigner.com. And then we do have video tutorials available on the website too for one-off questions that you might just need a very quick reminder of. So to create a new project, I'm going to go here. I'm going to create it from scratch. We do have a few templates. As we work with more and more venues, we're uploading more spaces, but it really is up to that venue itself whether they want to make that publicly available. So I'm going to go to start from scratch. I will name it. We'll just name it SCPA right now. And this description, it's just to help you find it or filter through it better. And while this loads, every time you load a project from scratch, it does start with a blank room. I'm going to actually delete this room. So all I'm going to do is zoom out and group this whole thing and delete it. So I have two different options here. You can either start drawing your space by selecting one of the wall drawing tools over on the left-hand side here, or this surface outdoor area allows you to create an outdoor space. The third option is this background tab here. So if you have a 2D floor plan from a venue, or if you're working in, let's say, a client's backyard, you can always grab a Google Earth screenshot image and then you upload it. You just have to know one of the dimensions, and it obviously has to be to scale, and you can easily trace over it. So I'm going to show you how that works. Of course, if you don't have that, then you just skip this first step, and I'll show you where you start from. So I'm going to go ahead and upload it to my account and lock it in place and just center it on my screen. So right now I know I have at least one dimension of the dance floor. So I'm going to go ahead and scale it. This is just a little tutorial it gives you to remind you. Click the one dimension, start to end, and type in 16 feet and hit OK. Now my image is actually scaled. So all I have to do is the build tool and select my wall drawing tool and draw over it. If you don't have an image, whether it's the floor plan or the Google Earth image, this is actually where you would start from. And all I'm simply going to do is drag or click on each corner of the wall and draw my space. And as you can see, it can be an odd-shaped room. It doesn't have to be a perfect square by any means. And I'm going to actually now, instead of going through and getting these few, go straight over it so I can very quickly show you how to create or edit it should you have not created it correctly from the beginning. So let's say I need to go ahead and add corners. I can simply do that. We'll add one more just to show you how this works. And right now I have the very basics of my room. So let's look at it in 3D. And then this is before you add in any doors, furnishing items, or even change the wall textures or colors. But all that can simply be done by going into your 2D view. If I wanted to change the flooring, clicking on the flooring. And over on the right-hand side, I have all these material options. I want to change the flooring. And I can select from any of my pre-done ones. I have a color chart as well. And I will just go ahead and change it for this purpose to a different wood color so we can see how quickly it changes. And that's how that works. Same as that concept works for the ceilings and the walls as well. The walls, I just go ahead and whichever wall side is highlighted is going to be the one that I'm going to change. So let's go ahead and select a light blue color so we can look at this and view it. And there you have it. So we pretty much covered the very basics of the software. There's not much more to it. It's very intuitive and easy to use. Again, if I needed to add an outdoor space, all I will simply do is click the outdoor icon and drag onto it and do that as well. And let's go ahead over here and look at this. And here's my outdoor space before I actually assign the outdoor material to the flooring. And same thing, like you saw in my original one. My original completed floor plan. I can always go ahead and add the notes tool, the arrow tool. One thing that you will start using that for as you start using the software is if you have any events with buffet setups, our software allows you to create very detailed buffet setups with shaping dishes, platters, you name it. The notes tool and the arrow tool allow you to then point to each item so you can call out what's going to be on each dish and each platter. So your banquet captain is completely comfortable and knows where everything's going to go for the event. So I think that really covers it right now as far as how our software works and the detailed intricacies of it. Let's actually go ahead and open it up for questions now, Aubrey, if that sounds good to you.
Yes, you did an absolutely fantastic job. It was a great overview of everything and such an exciting platform. Hopefully everyone who's on the webinar tonight or viewing this recording later is giddy excited as I am once again to get started and get into the platform and create yet another floor plan. I personally have even used this in my corporate career many, many times over. It's such a powerful tool and it makes you look so impressive to be able to do this. So I want to, I actually took a ton of notes and highlighted some things. So I wanted to kind of go back over a couple different things. Can you, you hit on this, but can you maybe share a testimonial or from your own personal experience, how a tool like this, you had mentioned working with vendors, how that all comes into play, and you kind of mentioned a couple different ways that you could leverage the tool, but we all know that vendor relations is so, so important. So how does a tool, once again, like this help you to keep all of your vendors in check?
Of course. No, great question. I'll actually speak to it from my own personal standpoint. And that was, I actually used this with my vendors for my wedding myself. So what I actually did was I created the floor plan. I actually sat down with my venue. We created it. We went over where, there were options as far as setup goes. There are certain places, as you know, in venues where the outlet's not going to be large enough for the band, or there's certain safety codes or fire hazards or exits. So you're able to mark those off. You know the setup then with your venue. And once that's done and you get the okay from your venue from an event planner perspective, then I actually went and sent it to the rental company so that they were able to look at it. We looked at the colors when I was actually in there, flipped through different linens, decided if that actually worked then also with the florist. And at the very end, that inventory button, I was able to print that off. I sent it to a rental company, made sure that they had the accurate count for the setup, or for the actual event day. And then they're able to easily cross-check their inventory as they're loading it onto the truck. So it just made it very easy for everyone involved. And then the last part of it too was it looped all the way back around to the venue at the very end as far as the seating charts go. They had the printout. They knew exactly who was sitting where and what entree selection they had. And we didn't even have to create the place cards to where they had the, what am I trying to say? They had the little, either the dots or the icons that say, this is fish, this is chicken, this is veggies. I used it even more detailed to where they just had the printout and they could just hand it directly and place it in front of the client. So as you can see, it was used from event planner, venue, rental company, and florist. So that's how I personally used it.
That's fantastic. And I think also so common when we're using pencil and paper trying to lay out floor plans, very often we get dimensions distorted, right? So we think more often than not that we can fit more into a space than we actually can until we actually start to place things. Can you share how your tool also helps with that specifically? Because I know that some of the furnishings are more to scale and size, right?
Yes, that's correct. So all of our furnishings item pieces, let me actually jump back over here into our tables. They are all to scale. So even if you're using a background image, all the items, they auto size back to the correct scaling, because that's the most important thing from an event perspective, making sure everything fits within that floor plan. So once you do drag an item in, it's going to fit into that space. But even on top of that, to go a little farther, we have a dimension tool. So let's say your venue space has a fire code restriction. They can't have any item more or less than 5 feet from that wall. You can always use that dimension tool to make sure that no tables from there, or even block it off as well. So this whole area right here in red now can no longer have any items in it. That way it's making it easy for you to know, okay, can I fit? The client wants X number of tables. They want X number of people to be able to be seated at those tables. Does that fit? This tool allows you to overcome that issue and make sure you're not going to get into trouble from one, your client, or two, from the venue itself.
Absolutely fantastic. Very, very helpful. I have so many notes. I think also you had mentioned, being able to put notes on things. You've mentioned that a couple times, and printing those off, that whole list of stuff. Also, how helpful is that also for the rental company to have that inventory? And I'm sure that helps them with cost estimates and, your own budgeting as well. You had mentioned about kind of contracts and how some companies use like screen captures as an example for contracts. Can you dive a little bit deeper into how this tool can also help with pricing and things for those businesses, maybe not the event professionals themselves, but some of those other vendors?
Yes, so as far as pricing goes with rental companies, we actually are working with quite a few rental companies right now. We just released a tool to where rental companies can now have their accounts have specifically only their inventory within there. So if you were to go to the furnishing tab from a rental company perspective, you would only have their collections. They would only have their products. So now they're able to give their clients a tool to see what their completed event would look like, not only with their inventory, but then when they're completely done with it, they hit that inventory button. The rental company itself knows, okay, the name of the product, the quantity of each, then they're able to then convert that into an Excel document and import it out or import it into their own software, rental software for pricing. So that's how it works from a rental company perspective. But then again, as far as the screen capture or that image and embedding it into contracts as far as pricing goes, that's what the venue side is actually using, so that they're able to say, this is what you're being charged for, whether it's this setup or that setup, adding the notes to it, taking that whole image that tells the whole story of that event and embedding that image in their contract that has, all the fine details in print. So it's trying to cover everyone's bases and also make everyone's lives a lot more simpler.
Absolutely. And that's so, so cool. And then also the ability to be able to share those links so that your clients can go in and see 2D, 3D. You had mentioned being able to make changes in real time, which is also super, super powerful because you have those conversations, even long distance, brides or clients, etc. That's super helpful. What suggestions might you also have, kind of speaking about the legality, we talked about contracts, could you have several versions that you've saved of a particular floor plan so you can go back and reference previous versions?
Definitely, yes. That is one thing that I always recommend with our clients. So different versions is a huge thing, and there's two different ways I use different versions. One being what you said, Aubrey, where you create one setup, you look at it with the client, they say, what, I either want the table, let's just use this table, for example, move different, or I want the whole band setup to be a different area. All you do is hit this duplicate button right here. I want to duplicate the project and I'm going to rename it. So I'm just going to say SCPA V2 version 2 and hit rename. Now in my account, I have my original version, but when I'm going to edit this one, it's making a second copy of it. And I can do this as many times as I need to so that I can always reference original version, second version, third, and so on. Also too, what we always recommend with these different versions is if you're frequently working at the same venue, we always recommend having a template in there that is named, the name of the venue and the template, and then you open it and hit the duplicate button. That way you're never having to recreate your space, or at the same time, maybe you were creating a second event that's a very similar setup to a previous event you did, just copy that one so you're not starting from scratch.
Absolutely brilliant idea. Yeah, definitely. And that's great to know that you can do that. Also, you had mentioned just great nuggets. Back in the day, Pinterest didn't even exist. Pinterest exists now, and it's a great, great tool to kind of put together those concepts. But I think, again, your platform, 3D Event Designer, really takes this to a completely different level. And I know that we've had some alum who have their own businesses now who coming into knowing about 3D Event Designer immediately jumped on it and were able to transform their businesses by being able to actually physically, visually, show their clients, the vision and being able to communicate, which is one of the biggest challenges, especially as event professionals, that we have. And again, keeping everybody on the same page. So that's absolutely awesome. And adding new features, I know you mentioned it a couple times, but I also want to echo this just for the audience on tonight's webinar, that I have definitely seen enhancement after enhancement after enhancement with this platform. I'm so, so proud of your company and your team and the way that you guys are pushing the envelope and constantly coming out with new things. I highly encourage everyone to follow 3D Event Designer on their social media platforms, because often they'll post, we've got this new feature or that new feature, or even the beta test, sneak peeks that you share with us tonight are so exciting. Those are really, really exciting. So thank you for sharing that with us. And then another resource that you had mentioned, but just to reiterate, on their website, they actually have a tab that says video tutorials, 3deventdesigner.com. There's a tab that says video tutorials, and literally, you'll probably go to it. Anything and everything that you could possibly think of that you would want to revisit, how to do this, how to do that, you can go and click on any of those and get a detailed video, or even you can see there's some written instructions as well. So they make it super helpful. So thank you guys for that as well.
Perfect. No, thank you. There's one thing that you were just mentioning that I actually wanted to touch on now that you brought that up. Where was it? It might come back to me. Sorry, go ahead and keep going.
Oh, I'll try and jog your memory. Was it beta testing, new rollouts, following them on social media?
Yes, it was actually the Pinterest and beta testing. So going back to the whole Pinterest thing too, we do have an add-on service, and I'm just throwing this out there because we do have a lot of clients that take advantage of it. But they will see something on Pinterest, or you will be at a florist company or at a florist meeting with your client, and you need a specific item that we might not have in our software added. We are able, as long as you have images and dimensions, to send it to us. There is a minimal fee for that, but that does help you even push the envelope even more. And on top of that, going back to what Aubrey had said about, using it, showing a competitive advantage for your company and alum using it. Because it is web-based, you can actually, let me go back to application. We have an embed button right here. You can embed any of your floor plans on your own personal website if you own your own event company. So you can show potential clients you have this service, and it's kind of separates you from a lot of others out there, and you can pre-show them what their event's going to look like to put their mind at ease and want to hire you. And you can even use that in your internships, or you can use it on your resumes as well. So just another tool to have in your back pocket.
Absolutely. I think all venues should have something like this for certain, and then even event professionals themselves as part of your package, being able to give them, this virtual tour before the event even takes place. Another thing I definitely recommend checking out that I love that you guys post is the kind of the before and after, so you can actually see almost spot on identical how an event, built in 3D Event Designer actually looks day of with an actual professional photo. Like, it's unbelievable how spot on it is. So check out some of that stuff on their social media as well. Those are always really, really exciting to see. And then, I think just to echo once again what you said, for any of our student or professional members, see how you can get in and play around with this particular platform. Of course, if you're an SEPA student member, we'll be emailing out those login credentials to you guys within this week, or you can ask your chapter leadership who already have the login credentials for them if you'd like to get ahead of the ball. And then again, if you're a premium member, we will be including a link to a quiz for this particular training, so you can actually get credit for it as well. And get in there and play around, so if you work for or are interning with a particular company and you guys are planning an event right now, or maybe you work for a venue, throw something together, show your manager, impress them, keep it in your portfolio, whether that's online, you can post, again, you can take a screen capture, a screenshot of any space that you built, put it on your LinkedIn profile. If you have a website, definitely if you have a printed portfolio, you can include that, put that under your skills as well. Being able to build not only a floor plan, but a 3D floor plan will definitely capture attention for any potential employers. And then, Kristin, you already mentioned, if you are a business it's yourself, being able to include that in your packages definitely sets you apart. So, Kristin, can you briefly mention for our kind of professional business members what your different package options are?
Yes, so our package options, I'm actually going to go here to show you. We have month-to-month pricing options. The difference really is the number of floor plans saved. Unlike some other floor plan softwares, your capability is not limited from package to package. So you get 2D, 3D, 3D global. The only difference between each package is the number of floor plans you can save. And then, of course, our custom ones are for rental companies or businesses that need multiple users, and those you just inquire. And I will say too, SEPA members, you always do receive a 25% discount as well. And so, Aubrey, I'll leave that to you as far as where they can go ahead and get that code too.
Yes, absolutely. So to answer that question, if you are a member of SEPA, you guys will get the code within our monthly newsletters. And also, we are currently building a page for you guys to have access to all of these different promotions that we have through our different partners. So be on the lookout for that. We'll be announcing that in an upcoming newsletter as well. So you'll have a place for all of that. So those are great questions. Thank you guys for being on today's webinar. Kristin, thank you for taking the time to speak with us today and present. You did a phenomenal job. Again, I can't speak highly enough about 3D Event Designer. It's a phenomenal tool. And we're so excited again to be partners with you guys and continue to see your growth in this industry and be an advocate for 3D Event Designer for sure. So thank you once again. And if you have any parting words, feel free to go for that.
No, I just want to say thank you all so much for being our partner. And of course, while you are working within the software, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We want it to be as simple for you as possible, especially you students. You're the up and coming next generation of event professionals. So if you have any questions, we are here to help answer it and to help you be as successful as you can be, and making that next move into getting a professional job within the marketplace. So we look forward to supporting you.
Absolutely. And if you do produce any event designs, please use the screen capture tool, tweet it at us, Facebook at us, or email us, and we'll definitely repost that and share it with 3D Event Designer as well. Maybe they'll post on their wall as well. So if you're creating any floor plans as SEPA members, definitely let us know about that. We know that some of our chapters are also going to be having watching parties for this particular webinar as well. So we look forward to all of your creations. And with that, you guys all have a wonderful night. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.